Hey friends, this is Andrew from Profit Logic, your friendly bookkeeper and accountant who is also a PhD student in business with a concentration in accounting. Quick question. You hired someone last year, maybe a freelancer or a videographer or perhaps a virtual assistant, and now tax season is looming. You hear the word 1099 floating around, and it makes you think, do I need one? Did I just mess up my business? Well, today we're going to clear the fog. I'll walk you through when you need to issue a 1099, how to figure out whether someone is a contractor or an employee, and how to track it all in QuickBooks so that you don't panic come January. And don't worry, I'm going to help you understand this through some stories, give you some tips on how to avoid mistakes, and by the end of this video, you're going to feel so much calmer about the whole thing. So what's one thing as a bookkeeper that I see over and over every year come January? The 1099 confusion. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but it does matter. Because misclassifying someone as a contractor or an employee or missing a 1099 can cost you money and time and unnecessary stress with the IRS. So let's dive in, but we're going to keep it light and make this as stress-free as possible. So I haven't seen this yet with my clients, but a friend of mine who is also a bookkeeper has a client, we'll call her Lisa, who is a small business owner. Early in the year, she brought in a freelance designer to basically edit her videos. Lisa told this designer what she needed to do, how she wanted the videos to be done, when she was supposed to work, and how to post it. Come tax time, Lisa sends out a 1099 for this contractor. But the IRS looked at the facts of this engagement and they thought, no, that's employment. And suddenly Lisa had to deal with back payroll taxes as well as penalties and fines on all this missed payroll tax for what was supposed to be an employee, not a contractor. The takeaway from this story is that it doesn't matter what the client agreement is. It doesn't matter what you call it when you're a business owner working with someone who may be offering their own service. To the IRS, it's a lot more about how they work. And in this way, knowing what the difference is between a contractor and employee is going to save you a ton of time and headache. So the IRS has 3 tests it will use to kind of get a feel for whether someone is more of a contractor or an employee. Let's go over each one. The first one is behavioral control. The IRS is going to ask questions like, who decides how the work gets done, whether you're telling the person exactly how, when, where, what time the work needs to be performed. That's going to lean more employee if the person asking for the work is controlling all of these aspects. But if you're a business owner who is saying to a contractor, here's the outcome I want, you can figure out how to do it, then that's going to be more towards contractor services. The second is financial control. Does this person have an investment in their own tools? Are they using a computer that you provided for them? Are they allowed to take on other clients, or are they only in your contract only allowed to work for you? Contractors typically have their own profit and loss risk, invest in their own tools, and are free to take on other clients. Otherwise, this is looking more like an employee. And the third test is the nature of the relationship. Is this agreement ongoing? Are you, as the business owner, providing benefits? Or is the engagement open-ended? If it's ongoing and there's benefits and it's going to move on indefinitely, then you're looking at someone who might be more of an employee. If it's a short-term project with a written contract and no benefits, then that's more of a contractor. So for most engagements, you'll probably be able to look at these 3 tests and be able to decide whether or not someone who's working for you is an employee or contractor. But if you're really unsure, then there's actually a great way to find out for certain whether the IRS is going to deem this person as a contractor or employee. And that's basically to ask them. And the way you ask the IRS is through a form. It's form SS8, the determination of worker status. What you do is you fill it out, you submit it, and the IRS decides. It does take time, but if there's going to be a big financial risk involved with getting this wrong, then it's totally worth it. All right, so now we know whether you're a person working for you as a contractor versus an employee. So if they are a contractor, then there are certain rules for when you're going to decide whether you send them a 1099 or not. Now for 2024, for someone to receive a 1099 NEC, that stands for non-employment compensation, send this if you pay someone more than $600 in the year, they are not your employee, you paid them for services, not just goods, and the person is an individual or an unincorporated business, which also includes sole proprietorship, or someone who's an LLC is filing as a sole proprietor. And if all these things line up, then yes, you need to send this individual a 1099 NEC. Now, do note that if you are paying your contractor through something like PayPal or other third-party payment processors, then you don't need to worry about a 1099 NEC. Instead, they're going to get a K1, a Form K1 from that third-party service, and they'll use that to file their taxes. So for example, let's say you hire a photographer, you pay them $1,200, and you pay them through Venmo. You do not need to send this person a 1099 NEC. Instead, Venmo is going to issue a 1099K. So these nuances matter. Be sure you're checking these boxes as you're deciding for your contractors what kind of form needs to be sent, if a form needs to be sent at all. Now, since I know y'all are business owners and you love systems the way that I love systems, let's talk about how we could track this all on QuickBooks, which is probably the software you're using to do your accounting. To do that, you're going to go into expenses. You're going to click on vendors and you go to the vendors dashboard. Here you can add a new vendor, or if you go up into the new button up here, you can add in a new vendor. And under your vendor, you're going to click track payments for 1099. Just beware, make sure this person, this vendor, is included on all vendor transactions related to them when you're going to categorize these transactions. Now, the other important thing you're going to need to do when you get a new contractor is to collect a W-9 form from them. They need to fill it out. It's an IRS form. You need to collect their information, their address, their name, their tax ID, and have them fill this out before you pay them. Please don't wing it later. Be very organized about these things. You can upload it into QuickBooks, but also keep files for your contractors organized on like a Google Drive as well. Now, at the end of the year, a great way to kind of go over who's going to need a 1099 or not, you can use QuickBooks reports to see who you paid over $600. This is also a very good reason why you're going to want to be on top of your bookkeeping throughout the year, and definitely by year's end. And hey, if the idea of doing your own bookkeeping feels really overwhelming, just want to let you know that I'd be more than happy to do it for you. You do not need to handle this all alone. At Profit Logic, I help business owners track all of the money flowing in and out of their business, track their contractors, as well as payroll, and I can even set up QuickBooks for you so that you don't have to worry about it yourself. January is coming, y'all. You don't have to go through chaos if you don't want to. So if you'd like that peace of mind, I'd be happy to chat. Just go into the description box below. There you can find a link to the Profit Logic homepage and set up a time to tell me about your business and how I can help you in your bookkeeping. Cool. All right, back to scheduled programming. Next, let's talk about some filing deadlines. Memorize these dates. Be sure that your contractor has their 1099 by January 31st of the next year, the same year that the taxes are due. And make sure you file your copy of their 1099s to the IRS by January 31st as well. You do not want to delay because penalties start at $60 per contractor and they tend to escalate and accrue interest. So avoid that. Get these things done. So let's bust a few myths that might be keeping you from doing this right. Number one is they said they have an LLC, so I don't need to send a 1099. This is not always true. If this individual if they're taxed as a sole proprietor or partnership, then yes, you do need to send them a 1099. This is again why you need to always ask for a W-9 and check. Another myth, they only worked once. It doesn't matter. If they pay you more than $600 in that one invoice, then you need a 1099. And the worst myth of them all, And oddly, the common myth is that I'll just do it at tax time. Ooh, that's a slippery slope. You're going to be scrambling, trying to get W-9s from people who are probably also trying to scramble to do their own taxes, and you may end up missing deadlines in the chaos. So keep this simple year-end process in mind. Number 1, collect W-9s for every new contractor before they pay. Number 2, track all payments monthly in QuickBooks and categorize them correctly. Be sure to include the contractor as a vendor in these transactions. Number 3, in December, review vendor payment totals and determine who qualifies by using 1099 reports in QuickBooks. And number 4, file your 1099 NECs by January 31st. Be sure to give them to the contractors as well. If you stick to this process, then you will breeze through tax season with zero hassle. This isn't just tax compliance, it's also protecting your business integrity. Misclassifying workers can lead to back taxes, penalties, interest, complications with unemployment, as well as complications with benefits issues. But when you get it right, you show your vendors, your contractor, that you are a reputable business to work with. You show the IRS that you're on top of things, and you show yourself that you are legitimately a leader in your business. This is one of those foundational things that sets high performers apart from the rest. So, do your contractors need a 1099? If you paid someone $600 or more for their service, they are truly independent, and they weren't paid through a third-party payment processor, then yes, go ahead and issue that person a 1099 NEC at the end of the year. But above all, remember that clarity in systems equal stress reduction. And again, if you want help setting up your QuickBooks, having someone take over your bookkeeping, or having someone make these 1099s for you, I'd be more than happy to help. Again, go on over to profitlogic.com and schedule a time to talk with me there. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe for more accounting tips and tricks, especially if you're a small business owner or a solopreneur. And be sure to give a thumbs up. Drop any questions you have in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. And thank you so much for watching and supporting the Profit Logic YouTube channel.